Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thanks, Chak, for that introduction. And this is such an important issue, so I'm excited to be here to hear your thoughts and hear more about the problems that you guys are encountering. And I just first wanted to mention that, Chak just said that he's new, and that's very true. We met early on when you first came to Ottawa, and I've been an MP since 2019, so it's almost 7 years now. And I guess I shouldn't be a rookie anymore. I'm a more been around a while. But Chak's done a great job in his little over a year. He talks about how he sends letters to ministers. He's also very willing and frequently stands up to say, the people in Richmond are saying this, and you need to know that. And so he's doing a very, very good job of bringing the message and the comments and thoughts of people in Richmond to Ottawa, to our caucus, and to Parliament. So I think you have a very good MP here. So Chak, thanks for what you're doing. And why don't we give him a hand for being. So I've spoken to different people from the Hong Kong community over the years, and I've heard of this issue, and it's very frustrating to me. And I can only imagine, if it's frustrating to me, I can't even begin to imagine how frustrating it is for you who are actually living this experience. And I think this Hong Kong pathway, you can call it a variety of things, but I think it's a scam. I think it was something done by the government with no thought. And what bothers me the most about it, because you can take a step back and look at our immigration system. It's a mess, right? I think everybody pretty much agrees it's a mess. We've brought too many people in too quickly. We don't necessarily have the right people, on and on and on. And for those reasons, it's being restricted. But the Hong Kong pathway is completely different than that. It stands apart from all of that, because what I just described is the regular process of people coming to Canada to go to school or do this or that or work, whatever. But the Hong Kong pathway was different, and the reason it's different is because the government specifically said, come to Canada. We have a plan for you. We want you here. And it was a very specific invitation, a very specific plan with a very specific process. And to me, that's very different. And that's not something, over on this side, you can say, okay, we're gonna slow down, we're gonna stop, you should go home, whatever is happening. But on the Hong Kong pathway side, it's different. This is something that the government of Canada invited people to come to Canada, and the government of Canada has to fulfill that and follow through. And that would be our view, and that would be certainly my view. And many of you may know Michelle Rempel-Garner. She is the Shadow Minister for Immigration, so her and I work together. I'm her associate, and she also agrees with that the Hong Kong, and there's also Ukrainians and Sudanese that also fit into that category, but the bulk of the people are Hong Kong pathways people. So that's, to me, what's frustrating about this, and why we continue to speak up. Chak continues to speak up, and we need to fix this problem. And the government seems oblivious to it. And you mentioned the minister's response, which we all laughed when she said it. Like, well, just go find another pathway. That's not an answer. That's a terrible answer. So, what I've learned from the Hong Kongers that I've spoken to so far is, as a group, I would say you're very smart. You're you have a lot to offer Canada, and it was no coincidence that the government asked Hong Kongers to come to Canada, because I think they were smart enough to know that Hong Kongers are very much a net benefit to Canada when you guys are here. And so we just have to fulfill what needs to be done so that you can actually be Canadian citizens and do what it is you came here to do, and add value to the country and make Canada a better place. So I'm really here for one reason tonight, and that's to listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your stories, good and bad. Hopefully there's a few good ones, but probably mostly bad ones. And then that information we can take back to Ottawa. We can help us to develop policies and help us to figure out how to press the government. Because part of this too is, how do we put pressure on the government? Because they can't get away with just saying, we'll go find another pathway. That's not a valid answer. So we have to come up with creative ways of embarrassing them and pressuring them to actually solve this problem. So that's really why I'm here. What's working, what's not working, where are they falling short? These are the things that we need to hear. So I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks, Chak, for arranging this, and looking forward to hearing your comments and your input, and we will definitely work with that and take it back and try to push this government into solutions. So thank you.
So, like I said, this is an open dialogue forum. So, if you have any questions, comment, recommendation, share your life experience, just put your hands up. We'll pass the microphone to you. One more thing. I know we're going to conduct this particular session in English, but like if you feel that you feel more comfortable in expressing yourself in Cantonese, I'll try my best to translate. Mandarin, I'll try harder to translate, but so first question.
Good evening. Thank you, MP Au and MP Redekopp. Right, did I pronounce your name correctly? Right, good. For your continuous attention for the Hong Kong pathway. I'm wondering, since you guys were talking and we're trying to figure out our next steps for Hong Kong pathway, is there some policy that you guys will be proposing after the break, after the summer break in Parliament? Is there some extra step that maybe moving the Hong Kong pathway category from the humanitarian bracket to some other pathways? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. It's a good question, and we have some ideas, and so maybe at the end I'll kind of share what our ideas are. But I think we would like to hear your ideas too. But what you're saying is 100% correct. We need to be proposing something that the government can actually do, because that's, if they're not smart enough to come up with a solution, then we can come up with a solution and give it to them and kind of force them to use it. So yeah, we'll talk about that towards the end, but I'm really like to hear your ideas as well. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm here, Mr. Lau. Because time is precious, I just want to express two concerns for your consideration. The first point is that many families, they come here and they want their children to have a good education, but because of the delay of this plan, many face quite a challenge when their children is going to the grade 12 and then they're going to university, they have to pay an international student fee. And many families cannot afford. And unfortunately, some of them, they have to return back to Hong Kong, which they don't want, but because of finance, they have no choice. So this is my first concern. The second concern is that while we are waiting for the PR, many of us, we have to renew our work permits. And nowadays, we need to use an optional open work permits, in shorthand called OOWP. While we are doing that, nowadays we have a long period of waiting, and that's okay. We can bear. But during this period, IRCC does not allow us to leave. Yes, we can leave, but once we come back, our status will be cancelled. But in many cases, because we move from the border, not because of traveling, but because of some parents, elderly, we have to see them, illness, burial. But we don't know when we come back whether it will be cancelled or this. That's my second concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are two very difficult things to do. Like, I feel your pain, because if something happens back home, it could be a wedding, it could be a funeral, it could be all kinds of things, and you're kind of stuck here because your work permit is waiting for approval. In a normal world, a work permit approval should happen very quickly, especially in the case of this particular Hong Kong pathway. But we don't live in a normal world, unfortunately, and it falls into the IRCC black hole of, we'll get to it when we get to it, and so that it's frustrating. And so I think that's a problem that's throughout all of IRCC, whatever program you're in. So I think it's something that we do need to push them on. And also, when this business about can't leave the country when you're renewing your permit. I think again, the assumption was, well, it'll be a quick process, so it shouldn't matter too much. But clearly, that's not working. So that needs a fix as well. So thank you for that input.
Yeah, perhaps I can